What's going on, everyone? So this might be a complete shock to you all, but Sam and Tara are not going to be in the upcoming Scream 6. Spoiler alert. But no, in all seriousness, Sam and Tara are not going to be in the upcoming Scream 6. I'm sure many of you are aware of the reasons why. I'm not going to dive into that because, that happened so long ago. But what I want to talk about with Sam and Tara is the likelihood of them at least being mentioned, or how will they tie into the story, if at all, right? Because thing is after Scream 6, which I do think you can argue kind of wrap things up nicely, right? Sam finally let Tara go, right? Through the symbolism of, hey, she's like, you gotta let me go, and just boom, drops her. And then, she has the mask, she drops the mask, walks away and chooses her sister, right? She doesn't go down the dark path. She chooses her sister, and her sister ride off into the sunset together, right? Okay, cool. You got this nice little wrapped up in a bow type thing. But they were linked to Sidney and Gail, and especially Gail, right? Like, they were tied into all of this. And how are you going to direct the story and create this new story without Sam and Tara being involved and linked to some degree, right? Now, you either A, have to have some, kind of random explanation, or you have to just ignore them altogether, which I don't want them to ignore them. Unless they are just going to completely retcon Scream 5 and 6, which I don't think they are going to do, right? Unless you do that, then yeah, you're not going to mention them. But if this really is a continuation like it's supposed to be, or rumored to be, which, you don't know until you know, but if this is continuation, there's got to be some type of dialogue or details as to Sam, Tara, and, just the core four in general. Because last we saw, Mindy was all tore up. Yeah, she showed up at the end, but she was all tore up. Chad should have died. I mean, that dude got, look, it's always kind of been a running thing with Dewey, right? That he just gets stabbed, but not to that degree. I mean, man, he was a pincushion, literally, with like 100 pins and still just walked it off. Like, it was crazy to me. But, I just think that there's a lot that you still kind of needs to be explained. And I don't want them to just pretend like Sam and Tara didn't exist, like they're not part of the franchise. I mean, even with the whole Jill aftermath, like that's something that still bothers me to this day, right? Like, we got the last thing we saw at the end of Scream 4 was her being a celebrity, right? Like her being this star. And it's just like, we didn't get any kind of details as to like what happened after. Did the world find out about Jill, right? It's just, but okay, fine. You were kind of trying to create this new installment. You tied it indirectly to 96. Okay, all right, I can look past that. But now it's like, okay, you got a new Sidney story. You're going to be going a new direction with Sidney Prescott. Okay, fine. I wanted them to move off of Sid. I was actually okay with Sidney not being in Scream 6. And I thought they did a good job of not needing her, right? Like, that film didn't really have anything that it was like, man, Sidney really needed to be in this movie. So that was good. But I understand the circumstances. I understand that, Sam, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, they departed, right? And so it's like, what's the safest route? Bring back Sidney and let's tell a new story. Fine. But Sidney still has ties and connections to Sam. And although, in Scream 6, it was relayed that like, kind of let Sidney be. She's happy. She deserves her happy. Some people deserve her happy ending type thing. Okay. Sidney's not going to contact Sam or Gail. And like, let's say she doesn't call Sam, because maybe she just doesn't have that relationship with her. But the whole point was that connection and that bond that they made by being, tied to Billy and all that stuff. So it kind of feels like, all right, you're just going to sweep that under the rug, but okay, fine. But wouldn't Gail at least like, hey, Sam, hey, Tara, how are you? Like, wouldn't Sidney at least go like, hey, are the kids okay? Like, Sam, Tara and them, are they okay? Or, do we need to get them or something? Like, there's got to be something, right? Because it just went from every Ghostface is trying to go after Sam to like, now they just stop? Now they're just like chilling and I'm like, let's try Sidney again, right? Man, Sam wasn't working. Maybe Sidney will work because she's a little older now. We could go out. Like you gotta make things make sense. My thing or my concern is I can see them just completely sweeping the Sam and Tara thing under the rug. And I don't think that that's the best course of action. I don't think you should avoid that like the plague, right? Like, yeah, it's, people aren't happy about the situation and, it's a mess and all that, but there's still characters in the franchise, right? I'm not saying you have to have like a flashback montage or something crazy. Like, no, just, simple dialogue, simple explanation, right? Sam and Tara are whatever in Bali living their best life. They took a vacation so they're safe and they're fine and no one get a hold of them, whatever. Right? Like, because you need to have something in the form of like that tie-in and connection. Right? Now, it'll be interesting to see, does this have no connection to like what was set up and established in Scream 5 and 6, right? Like the whole cult aspect and, that Reddit thread and, all these things that they were really setting up to kind of almost seem like have this grand showdown where at some point it kind of felt like Sam and Sidney were going to team up to take down Ghostface again, right? Like it was going to be this thing that it was almost like this, like they were setting up this Thanos Avengers type endgame type thing, right? Like, and it's like, well, now what? Is that going to tie in to what happened with Sam and the connections and Richie and what Richie established and set up and, and Jason and Greg and, what they were trying to do about keeping the movement alive and all that stuff, right? Like, are you really going to be able to just kind of sweep that under the rug? Like, wouldn't that still be going on? Wouldn't that still... So even like story points that were in Scream 5 and 6, you would think that they have to have some type of connection to it, right? It'll be interesting to see also. I don't know if they'll do this, but I also wouldn't doubt it if they kind of leave the door open for Sam's return. Like I wouldn't be shocked. That is something that happens where they kind of just like... No, I'm not saying that they're going to for sure bring Sam back at some point, but I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of, leave it open to where Sam and Tara come back and then, when all the dust settles and everything, maybe they, for, if this really is a trilogy, maybe for the 6th installment or the 3rd installment or whatever of this new trilogy, maybe they all come back, right? I mean, look, Sidney departed and she wasn't happy and she was, she had stuff to say and that was ugly. And look, she's back. Because why? Money talks, right? Money talks. And so, even as bad as Sidney and Spyglass and all their falling out was, and the way that the fans responded and took it, look, again, she's back, right? And all of a sudden, she has all these nice things to say about them, right? Because all of a sudden, you get that paycheck, and it's like, oh, what? No, I love these guys. Like, what are you talking about? No, it was just a misunderstanding, right? But look, I ain't mad at her. Get your money, right? Seriously. Like, the Spyglasses and Paramount and all them, they're in this spot. Take advantage, right? I ain't mad at her at all. Go get your bag. Go get your bag. I'll never blame somebody for getting their bag. But I just, I think it's funny, right? The tune changes, her interviews and stuff. She's, now they're all best friends. So again, don't put it past Sam potentially returning, right? And then maybe leaving the door open a little bit through maybe just simple dialogue or something where it's like, oh, I can't get a hold of Sam. I hope she's okay. And then, maybe there's some tie-in or something that is like, wait, is Sam and Tara coming back at some point? Right? I don't want them to like recast them or anything like that. That I don't want. Right? I hope that's something that they do where they kind of leave the door open. It's like, oh, hey, here's Sam and Tara. And it's just like two completely different people. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What is going on here? Right? Because, even Jenna Ortega, right? Jenna Ortega said she didn't leave because of the Melissa Barrera thing. She left because of scheduling conflict. So, the door's open for her to potentially come back at some point. Right? So, now it's just, would they bring Melissa back? I don't know. Right? Like, but I wouldn't be shocked if they leave the door open for Sam and Tara. Like I said, I think you gotta at least have some connection. You have to have at least some tie-in, Right? I don't want them to just completely, act oblivious and like, oh, that never happened. Right? It's kind of what they did with 4. It was just like there was a lot of stuff at the end of 4 that was kind of left open and in the air. And then even when Kirby came back, it was like there was no explanation, no nothing. It was like she's just back. It's like, oh, how did you survive? Oh, I dug myself out of the... It's like, okay, so you dug yourself out of the trench. Okay, well, what happened to Jill? What happened to... Like, there's just so many things that were left unanswered. And I just don't want to see that happen again with this upcoming Scream, where it's just like Sam and Tara and Chad and Mindy and all them, they were... they might as well not even have existed, right? Because they're still out there, still all alive. As much as Mindy and Chad, especially Chad, should be dead. I mean, Gail should be dead too, but, somehow, some way, everyone just survived. But nonetheless, right? I think you have to have some type of connection. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think you gotta have some tie-in with Sam and Tara? You can't just sweep it under the rug like it never happened. Do you think no, like it's fine? Just kind of tell a new story. Don't even bother. Do you think that they should leave the door open for Sam and Tara to potentially return later on down the road? Right? Maybe they come back. Like I said, in the next movie, or if they do a trilogy, maybe at the end of the trilogy, it is that big, kind of Endgame style film where the Scream Avengers are all teaming up to take down big bad Thanos Ghostface. How you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.